Well, hi guys. I'm doing this video because there's something that I learned just this morning, and I thought this was important to do a video about. And knowing what I know now kind of clears some things up that I've been wondering about that took place 3 years ago. It's always bothered me, and I've had my suspicions, but still, it doesn't really mean a whole lot. But I found out something this morning that is quite fascinating to me because it pertains to my backyard. And this is something that I have not been aware of since it took place. This is something that took place back in October of 2014. And I've been doing a lot of research over the last several days, extensive research. And there is a business owner on our lake. He owns what's called We Want You Cottages on Chautauqua Lake. The owner's name is Pete Weimer. He's also the president of the Chautauqua Lake or Chautauqua County Bigfoot Expo. And he's had a lot of prominent guests at this expo that takes place in DeWittville, New York, which is at the north end of our lake. Uh, Pete started this because one day, while coming back from Clymer, New York, he claims he saw a Sasquatch crossing a cornfield, walking away from the two-lane highway and heading for the woods. This was on December 8th, and I believe it was 2014. I'd have to go back and look at on the website, but it has the date of his sighting. And ever since then, Pete got really big into the Bigfoot phenomena, and now he is writing a book with a business partner on these accounts and about the subject. And Pete reached out to me and wanted to hear my testimony of what happened in Cattaraugus County, which is the neighboring county to Chautauqua County. It is to my east. And that's where I do all my camping. And I camp either in Cattaraugus County or in Pennsylvania. I'll go directly south out of Cattaraugus County into Pennsylvania, but that's where I do most all my camping. I rarely ever camp in my own county. So he wants me to contact him. He gave me his business number, which also is linked to his cell phone number, so I can leave a message and he'll get back to me. But he's had people famous at this expo, including Dr. Jeff Meldrum. You guys in the Bigfoot community probably are very familiar with that gentleman. Well, come to find out, there was a news story done on WGRZ out of Buffalo, New York, where they did a story about these prints that a worker for an employer photographed because the employer, who lives right over here, a stone's throw from my house, had something happen on his deck in the middle of the night, and it caused all kinds of ruckus. And he went to go see what it was. And he obviously, I don't know if he saw something or didn't see something, but he told his employee about it. And then his employee wanted to investigate further, and the boss wanted nothing to do with it. He wanted absolutely nothing to do with it. Well, eventually he changed his mind, and this guy, who is called John K. I'm going to ask my landlord if he knows this guy, because he worked for that employer. And I believe that employer must have been Tri James, because they own Tri James Gravel Pit. And after he passed away, they auctioned off a large portion of the property, which my landlord recently has bought. And the property of where this happened is the very property that I hike and do YouTube videos. And I'll show you here in this clip where I'm walking along, and I did a most recent video this spring, and I'm walking right through the area where these tracks have been photographed. Now, these tracks look a little strange to me. They're barefoot tracks. They're about 14 inches long, but they're very, very narrow tracks. Odd looking, but doesn't really speak much to me, because things, you guys, can be faked. But when I heard about these tracks being in Asheville, well, Asheville is a big area. And I thought, well, it could have been up near the campground up on Hogue Road. It could have been over by the Llama Club down by the Trout Stream. I mean, these tracks could have been anywhere. But then when they said it was Eek Road, wow, that got my attention, because Eek Road's right here. It's right behind my house. It's a dead end. It goes up into the woods and it dead ends. There's only two houses on the road. And the one house was by the owner of that this guy worked for. that John K. So these photographs were taken on the property that my landlord now owns, and I've been walking it, and I do videos up in those woods. So this would explain a couple things that I've had happen in my backyard, because my house behind my house here is nothing but woods, acres and acres of woods. And it goes back all the way to Morley Road, which is way over on the other side of all this land. And I do a lot of walking back there. And there's a big trout stream that runs through the property, and there's swamps, there's ponds. Over on the new property, there is a big pond. I showed that in the video. There's swamps back in there, and there's streams that run through the property. So there's all kinds of water source and food source. And but the things that I've had happen out in my backyard at night makes me wonder, makes me wonder now what it was. And so this is quite interesting to me. And I'm going to get a hold of my landlord today, and I'm going to ask him if he knows this John K, because I'm sure he does, because my landlord knows everybody, especially anybody that's worked for any business owner in the area, because Roger knows everybody, and he might know of this guy. And I'm going to ask him if he knows about what took place on the property he now owns that he purchased when the auction happened, when that business owner passed away just recently. So 3 years ago is when something happened right here at this back door behind me. I had it open on a summer night, and there was the deepest, loudest growl that came through this upper screen. The screen here is at the top. The bottom is glass and the top is a screen. And my two cats were here. I was sitting over at the edge of the couch. I was editing a video that night. I had a lot of clips that I had to stitch together, and it was late at night. It was after 11. And the two cats are here on the floor, and they're looking at the door, but they're not just looking at the door. They're looking up at the top of the door. Both of the cats' heads were looking up, and their eyes were as big as quarters. And they were just staring at the door. And this got my attention. And then the loud growl came through the screen, and it was so deep and so loud. I was like, what in the hell is that? And I got up because I keep flashlights. I keep flashlights right near me, because at night I'll let the cats out on the porch, and I'll aim this up at the roof because there's no porch light out there. And these bright flashlights will illuminate the porch because it reflects off the metal roof that's out there, and it lights up the whole porch. So always keep lights right near this back door. The cats, when that growl happened, they both turned exactly at the same time and bolted to the front door to get away from this door. So that's when I got up with the flashlight and I went out to look. And once I got up and walked around my computer and came to this door, it was wide. This door was wide open. It was open all the way to the wall, like that, all the way open. It was a hot summer night. It was after 11, and I shined it out there. And then I went out onto the porch and shined it out in the yard, and there was nothing. There was nothing out there. But this growl was as loud and deep as a lion. It was not no small wild animal. I don't know what it was, but for the longest time, I wondered what on earth could be big enough to make a growl that loud and that deep. And the fact that the cats were looking up at the top of the door, I don't know what they were looking at, but whatever it was, they were looking at it at the top. So I have no idea. I've always wondered about that, but I've had some strange things happen out back, and it makes me wonder now if I shouldn't be setting up my trail cam 24/7 and just leave it out there. Just leave it out there for weeks, maybe even months, and just let it run. Just let it run until the thing dies, and see if how many files I can get off of that trail cam. Because I noticed Roger's son's been setting up a lot of trail cams on the new property their dad bought, because that's where they built that two-story camp that I showed you. Makes you wonder, but that's where it happened. This Bigfoot occurrence and tracks were left over on the new property that's right over here on Eek Road. That's a dead end, and it's all heavily forested. So I'm going to be a little more aware now of what goes on around here in these woods out back. And because I've had two strange encounters prior to when Bridget came here with me, and we had something running around while we were out there at the fire, and it was very fast and I couldn't see it. And that was very unnerving. So we're going to just keep an eye out when she gets here the end of May, and sit out around that fire. And from now on, doing any camping, I'm definitely going to be on high alert, because I'm going to be going back up to uh, Pineapple Junction in the daytime because there's something up there that I want to discuss, and I want to be on location to make that video. I just been waiting on the weather, you guys. The weather has been rainy, cold, and miserable and windy. It's been shitty weather, so it's supposed to persist all the way into the end of this next week. So I'm not having any weather to get outside. But I am going to investigate this further, and I'm going to talk to my landlord, and I'm going to get to the bottom of who this John K is, and if he's still around, if it's somebody I can talk to and interview him. But Pete Weimer wants me to get a hold of him because he wants to hear my testimony of what happened in Cattaraugus County. I've done the videos about those encounters, you guys, and I've talked about it. It's on my channel, and I don't know what to make of it, but this stuff is starting to get a little more too real. But to have tracks photographed that close to home, you guys can look at these tracks yourself. I'll leave a link to the website below, Pete Weimer's website. You guys can watch the news story. You can look at the photographs of the prints. There's a little link below for local footprints. I just thought I'd do a video about this because, unbeknownst to me, in October of 2014, there was quote unquote Sasquatch footprints photographed on Eek Road in Asheville, New York. And I walk that land, you guys. I've been up in that forest, and I walk all through there. So uh, that's a little crazy. Because this is a creature I don't believe in. I'd have to see one myself to believe this thing exists, but I have had some weird stuff happen, and that scream that happened up at Pineapple Junction, um, I just don't even know what on earth could make that scream. It was so loud, and it had to have such a lung capacity to make it. It was just unreal, just unreal. It was like being on the plains of Africa. I mean, some big giant animal. It was just nuts. So anyway, that is a place I'm going to go back up to in the daytime as soon as we get some decent weather and the dirt roads are dried out, because they'd be pretty muddy right now, maybe even some washout. So I got to wait, you guys. We're having a shitty spring. I just got to wait. But yeah, my channel's still up in the air. Still don't, contemplating leaving YouTube, but until I do, I'm going to be covering some of this because I think this is something that's worth investigating, and I'm definitely getting my trail cam back up. So anyway, I'll leave the links below. You guys check it out for yourself. Leave the comments down below what you think. This is not anything that convinces me of one thing or another. It's just interesting to me, and I thought I would share it. Thanks for watching, you guys, and we'll see you again in the next one. Bye-bye.